Hello, loves. It's your girl, Reese Reviews. Welcome home, where today we're going to be discussing Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 8, Episode 6, No More Nice Tish. Let's get on into this review. So, this episode picks up where it last left off with Ken and Trish. They're at dinner, and he's pretty much asking her about this divorce. She's stumbling over her words, and she basically comes out and says that she's scared of getting remarried again. He lets her know that he's not one of those guys that, you know, comes in, saves the day, wears that cape, and then is gone. He actually wants to be there for her through thick and thin. Trish goes on to basically say that while she was mourning the people in her life, her husband dropped the ball and he was not there for her. He was able to pretty much fix everybody else's problems, but wasn't able to fix the problems in the household. Ken and was saying that in the back of his mind, he felt like she didn't want to get the divorce. And he does not want to put his all in and then get left. Pretty much, he says that he sees nice guys all the time going above and beyond for another woman, only for the woman to leave and go back to what she was used to or go back to something else that was a lot more familiar. Yeah, he doesn't want to be in that headspace. And she basically says that now she feels like she can initiate the conversation because he did ask her, are you ready to initiate the conversation? And she's like, oh, that's asking a lot. And he was like, well, the guy's not going to do it. So clearly you're going to have to be the one to initiate the conversation for the divorce. She states that she feels like she can do it. And then she pretty much states like she's ready to move on with the divorce. She liked the conversation that she had with Kim because she was able to kind of put everything into perspective. And now she's ready to have that conversation with her husband that it's time for them to actually go ahead and get the divorce. She states that she is scared of remarriage, and Ken says you need to be scared about staying in that marriage. Long story short, in my opinion, I believe that he's basically trying to say the longer you stay in, the more it's going to be time for me to step out. And I hope currently she's going through a divorce. Because if not, there's more fish in the sea, bro. Moving on to the next scene. In the next scene, we see Nell and Chris. Nell is in her bedroom and she's going through boxes of shoes. And Chris walks in and greets her. She tells him she needs a brand new closet because she just does not have enough space. She's looking at stuff, she's pulling out double things, she doesn't know what belongs to what. And he basically just says, I'll make sure that you get a closet. One of the rooms upstairs could be a closet. And she's like, don't get my hopes up. He's like, I'm going to make sure you get everything you want, baby. And she starts to smile. They sit down together and they start talking about her birthday. He mentions that her birthday party's coming up. She asked him who did he invite, and he states that he invited everyone that he could think of. She states she knows that she has to invite Stormy, and she says she's kind of taken aback and nervous to invite Stormy because of her and Tisha's last discussion. The last time they saw each other, they were arguing on the reunion, and she doesn't know how they're going to act once they see each other, but she hopes that they can work it out. Chris says that he definitely thinks that they will work it out and then they'll be on their best behavior. She doesn't want her birthday party to be ruined, but then again, she did invite them, so what does she expect? He says, well, it doesn't matter who actually comes to the birthday party, your kids will be there. And this is where she states that, hey, forget the friends. She ought to be worried about how the kids are going to behave. And Chris says, they're going to be on their best behavior. You're their mother. She said, what the hell do you think that means? Right now, one of the kids has the other on block. So then Chris brings up, oh, they're doing and names his daughter's name that had an interview with blogger The Real Tea. So I have not seen that interview with Giving You The Real Tea, but because they've been talking about it so much, I'm gonna go ahead and watch that interview so that I can see what was said in the interview. When you try to review the show, to be honest with you, when you try to review the show, they bring up so much things that don't happen during filming That is just exhausting. The bloggers pretty much are making the show because they're doing all the behind the scenes stuff. They're doing the interviews. They're doing all the things are making the show relevant, to be very honest. And when you're reviewing the actual show, it's hard to review because there's so much stuff that you've already known because of all the drama and all the interviews that's been going on with the blogs prior to filming. I don't know, Carlos, what to tell you in regards to that, but all these bloggers that are getting these interviews, they need to be compensated for their time. They need to be compensated for their likeness being mentioned. Yeah, for sure, because it's really giving they are making the show. So anyways, he says that he tried to reach out to his daughter, and Nell says that the bloggers are saying she needs to reach out, but she can't make something right with somebody who don't want to make it right with her. She's just going to continue praying. And that's pretty much it for that scene. Let's move on to the next. This scene is all about Kimmy, Maurice, Tisha, and Marceau. They're on a double date and they're talking about the project that Kimmy and Maurice have. Kimmy wants everything to be done timely. She's not about the lackadaisical stuff that she believes that Marceau and Tisha are on. And long story short, she wants them to bid for the project. She's working with her friend who we heard in episode 1. And there's also other contractors who are interested in doing the project. Kimmy said that she could be very annoying when it comes to things not working or being handled on time. And she just wants things to be speedy. Marceau states that he doesn't mind bidding because then they'll be able to see that picking him will be the right choice. It seems like Maurice doesn't really want the bid, so he's practically putting everything on Kimmy, stating that Kimmy would be allowing them to bid. And Kimmy's more so like, it's a us thing, but let's be clear, history proves itself. Tisha is still not in her office. The manor is still not built. The strip mall is still not complete, and these are all things that Marceau is working on. So practically, history has already told the tale that Marceau takes a really long time to get things done. Marceau says that his projects that he is actually putting money to always take a back seat to what he's getting paid to do. And basically, his actions will speak louder than his words. He didn't specifically state that, but that's basically what it sums up to. So there's really not too much to discuss in regards to this scene by itself. We're just going to move on to the next scene. Next, we see Courtney and Ken. They're meeting up at a basketball court. Courtney states that him and Ken have actually played basketball together since they're about 10 years old. So they know each other very, very well. They were pretty much brought up together. And so when they come in, they start, shooting some hoops and whatever. They take a little break. Ken basically states that he's waiting on Trisha to get a divorce before he actually proposes to her. Courtney's like, well, you guys can still get engaged. And he said he actually wants to wait for all of that to cease. He states when some people see him and Trish together, they're like, wait a minute, aren't you still married? Or they think that she's automatically cheating on her husband with him. And that's not the case because they've basically been separated for about 4 to 5 years before he even came into the picture. But the thing is, though, Ken, they're not legally separated. They just decided to not live together. That's not a legal separation. And at the end of the day, until this lady has signed divorce papers, you are the side dude. Unfortunately, you may not see it and you may think that it's something different, but baby, it is what it is. You are sleeping and cohabitating with a married woman, not a legally separated woman, a legally married woman. And as long as those papers are not signed, You are her side dude. Sorry to break it to you, but if she hasn't signed on the dotted line as far as a divorce, she's a married woman. And yes, she is cheating on her husband with you. He states that Trish mentioned Martell pretending as if he didn't know her. He states that he knows of Martell through people and they have introduced themselves to each other, but Trish actually knows him as far as being around him and his brother Montez, and he doesn't understand why Martell was acting like that. It's kind of gonna put like a taste in everybody's mouth on some, oh, they used to fool around, and he's not for that. He's saying he ain't got no beef about it, but he just want to know like what's really going on. And Courtney's idea is it's good to kind of like get to the bottom of it, especially because Martell's supposed to be one of the models as well in the Lovers and Friends gala. And Ken says that he's going to be the one pouring the body oil on Trisha. So I guess they finna find out what's going on between Trisha and Martell and what that was all about. And hopefully Trisha speaks to her husband and starts the divorce process. Ken seems to be a really, really good guy. It's just really unfortunate how the cards are dealt in this situation because you can clearly see that he is head over heels in love with Trisha. Moving on to the next scene. In this next scene, we are on a sprinter. We're in a sprinter with Trish and Ken, Stormy and Courtney. They're on the way to Nell's party and they're talking. Trish brings up that Tisha told her that Nell could be very feisty and in your face. Stormy disagrees. She believes that Nell is tiny and mighty, but it's from a place of love. She states she never really seen Nell get in anybody's face besides Martell, and she did that out of love. It was very passionate. So she doesn't see her as a real aggressor, get in your face type of person. And she also kind of sees Nell as the cool, inspirational auntie. So now Stormy wants to know from Trisha what has or what did Tisha say about her. And basically she states that Tisha says that Stormy is one way and then another way. And Stormy is like, no, that's not true either. I've always been the same type of person. I've always been the same. I've always kept it consistent. Then we move over to the next sprinter where we see the Scotts. Maurice, Kimmy, Marceau, and Tisha. They're in the car on the way to Nell's party, and Tisha begins to read a message that she got from Stormy saying that they would love for her and Marceau to be at their Lovers and Friends gala. Marceau thinks that it's weird. So does Tisha. They said the last time they saw Stormy, it was a big argument, and they find it weird that they'll be getting invited to an event before they even spoke to each other and cleared the air. And I gotta be honest, I kind of agree with them in the aspect of, okay, you're inviting me, but we have to air out what we gotta air out first, because if we haven't aired out our grievances, there's no reason for me to be attending your party. Marcel wants to have a conversation with them just to see what's going on because clearly there's a not meshing going on. And so we head back to the other sprinter. And Courtney states that he really only likes Chris and Martell. And Stormy's like, well, what about the Scots? And he's like, the Scots who? And she's like, well, Maurice don't really too much mess with nobody, give nobody no problem. And Courtney's like, yeah, but I mean, when his wife was going through chemo, he was acting weird. And I don't like that. Stormy says she appreciates that he said that because she knows that if she's ever in need, that he's going to be standing beside her. And basically, Ken did say that he didn't want things to be weird, and that's when he's gonna kind of back when he sees things starting to get weird. Courtney agrees with him, and pretty much, yeah, we head on to the party. So now we arrived at the party, And guests are starting to pour in. We see Nell's children come in, the niece. We see the Scotts come in as well. And then they start to talk to the family. They basically ask if Lexi's going to be there. Can we ask if Lexi's coming? And they say no, she's not coming. Teacher's like, didn't you see her interview? She said she's not coming back around there. And they basically are saying that things can turn around, but that Nell wasn't fazed by it. Marcel says that Nell should be fazed by that specific thing because it's family talking about you like that. And they say she's not fazed about it because that's not her character. And they actually, Maurice wonders if they can get back to family. And they said that they believe that they can. It just will take effort from all parties involved. As they're speaking about that, in walks Melody. She came in solo dolo with her gift and her glasses. It seemed like Tisha must have pregame because she was on one. As soon as Melody came in, she's like, girl, take your glasses off. And she tries to proceed to take her fingers and remove Mel's glasses for her. Mel is like, I don't know where you are, but I'm in the club. Melody said that she's excited about being in the club. She knows that Miss Nell is going to cut a rug and she's going to cut a rug right along with her. Then we see Tisha coming up to Nell saying, you said that you had to speak to Marceau about something. And she kind of looked like, homegirl looked like she's already smashed. Sorry. And Mel is like, yeah, I'm going to speak to him at a later date. Like, there's a time and place for everything. This is not the right place at the right time. I don't know what's going on with this girl. She finds her seat amongst the crowd. Tisha's like, well, I want to know what's going to happen. Who's going to walk through these doors? How's tonight going to be? And Mel is like, it's going to be positive, full of fun, positive vibes, positivity. And then in walks Stormy, Courtney, Trish, and Ken. Stormy, Courtney, Trish, and Ken start greeting everybody. Mel is telling them to come back to the section and sit over by the section. And Tisha's like, I wonder why Nell is late to her own party. And Mel is like, because it's her party. And, Mel is like trying to be lighthearted, but Tisha just been popping back them drinks. And so Nell comes in with Chris, and she comes in, she does her little dance and whatever. She dances for her man. She states that her kids have thrown her this birthday party. This is she's only had one birthday party in her entire life, and she was 40 at that party. So she's very excited that her kids have decided to throw her a birthday party. She's on cloud 9. She's very excited and happy. Then we get them coming back to sit down. The girls are all sitting together, and the guys are off to the side. As the guys are off to the side, Tisha is talking. Of course, she's taking another shot. And I think we have seen every time the camera has panned to Tisha, it's been a new drink. It's never the same drink. We see that Courtney has stolen the show. The bottle girls came out. And Nella's like, Stormy, tell your husband to stand down. He is outshining me at my own party. He had got a bottle for the guys, and they said that they would like a bottle as well. Well, Tisha said that they wanted a bottle as well. But I think he had enough, girl. Marcel said she ain't getting no bottle. She said, yes, I am. And so basically, Tisha then says, hey, Nell, did you know Trish was a trainer? And she said, dang, I could look at her and tell. And she said, yeah, I'm trying to get like her. I'm trying to get like her. And then Nell in Nell form said, well, you better get started. Nell makes a point to say a little bit earlier before that she thought that Stormy looked great. She lost a lot of weight. And Stormy says that she wants to actually do a fitness competition. And Tisha's like, oh, so you want muscles? And she's like, yeah, I want muscles. I want to do a bikini competition. And it's in November. So it's a year-long process, and she's really locked into it. In confessional, Melody says that the way Tisha is drinking, she's going to be Wanda Jr. And we see that as the shots are being poured, she's taking a drink, and then the bottle comes. The girls come with the bottles, they have the bubble machine going, and they're having a great time. This is when someone asks Trisha if she was married. And Trisha says, "No, I'm not. Oh, I am married, but I'm seeing someone, but I'm separated." It's like, girl, just tell him you got a side dude and you're not divorced yet, but you're trying to get a divorce. Why make it so complicated? It's really not. You have a side man that you're living with. You're not divorced from your husband. You're a married woman with another man. Plain and simple. Are you looking to get divorced? We don't know yet. The odds, the ball is still out. It's not dribbling on that court just about right now. But yeah, that was something easy to explain. But every time it comes to her situation, she's always fumbling over her words. The screen then passes over to the guys, and Maurice asks Ken if he's married. And Ken is like, "Nah, they ain't married." And he's like, "Well, when are you guys gonna get married?" And Ken basically was like, "She got some other stuff going on with her ex, and she's technically still married to someone else." Maurice is basically telling Ken that there are ways that she could get this divorce if he doesn't want to sign the papers. Now we go back over to the girls, and they're still talking about the whole not divorce situation. Mel's like, "Okay, so you guys have been separated for 5 years. Like, well, how's the paperwork going?" Trish says there is no paperwork, confirming that not only is she separated, but she's not legally separated. They just woke up one day, say they don't want to be married no more, and walked out of each other's lives for the past 5 years, and have done absolutely nothing to cement the fact that they no longer want to be together. So they just looking at her like, oh. Moving right along. She basically says that she's kin to Chris through her mom, and um, she said that she started training because her parents died 7 months apart from each other, and that's what made her start going into training. And she said that she just wants to be alive by 55, and she'll get there. Tisha's like, yeah, Tisha had brought up age already, obviously wanting to know how old Nell was. She says that Nell is very feisty, wants to know why. And she said that she just is, and she's a mentor. And Nell is like, you're doing too much. She said, I'm just gonna start calling you Melody and Lunell because your names are too similar. And she's like, no. Nell is like, no, she's Mel and I'm Nell. And then Tisha's like, Lunell. She's like, Nell. She's like, Lunell. She said, Tisha, you're doing too much. So now you're just going to be Tisha to me. And she was like, you're doing too much. Tisha's like, I can. And then she's like, Nell is like, I can too. So what's up? What's going on with that? Stormy says, well, what's the problem? What's going on? And after she said that, Nell is like, I don't know. It's like, you don't know what's wrong? Like, okay, well, that's getting weird. And Tisha's like, no, that's not weird. What's weird is inviting someone to a Valentine's Day celebration when you haven't spoken to them in months. I just find it weird because I haven't spoken to you since the reunion, and you sent me an invitation knowing that we haven't spoke. Wouldn't it be weird to you? Mel is like, keep me out of this. So Stormy was like, well, what did you say? She's like, what you said about popping pills? What you said about popping pills? I'm trying to see if you're trying to defend me. So I want you to say it again. I want you to say what you said. Teacher's like, I said what I said. She's like, so what does that mean? What does popping pills mean? What does pop pills mean? Tell me right now. And then we go to be continued. So I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to pick up where it last left off, obviously, because it's to be continued. So we'll see that when it comes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment so I'm not talking to myself. How did you guys like this episode? I already know I'm behind on these episodes and these reviews, but baby, the behind the scenes stuff is draining me. So I'm just gonna cut off from watching the behind the scenes stuff so that I can catch up on doing the reviews of the show, because it literally, the arguing, the bickering is very draining. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, bye.